The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios.
Hi, this is Mia Mosinzia, also known as Mia No Time for Love. Check out my latest book, Missing, available in print and ebook formats on Amazon.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartradio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Mosinzia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Mosinzia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Mosinzia has garnered great reviews and even been endorsed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for it goes Missing by Mia Mosinzia, available on Amazon. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com on over 30 podcast platforms, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also, Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, Apple Music, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com and check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, makes great gifts year round. Amazon.com, check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Mosinzia for great books like Missing, Once, and Wrinkles. Also T-shirts, pop sockets, hoodies, phone cases, and more. Amazon.com/Mia Mosinzia. Check it out today. And don't forget to support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, and you can also buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.u at the Mike Wagner Show, and also on Glow FM. Make sure you support us today. We're here with a terrific lady who's an international life, leadership, and relationship coach and a certified practitioner of neurolinguistics and a number of associate of integrative society. And we'll talk about that. She has endured some of life's most brutal blows, including her college best friend deliberately stealing her high school boyfriend, the loss of an infant child just shortly after thought he was out of danger, a belligerent and abusive husband, child born with epilepsy, family suicide, being bitten by a poisonous snake, and also relinquishing a cherished foster teen whose action threatened her family and more. And despite them all, she found the gift hidden within these experiences, the gift of choice, and how to respond to the challenges. We'll be talking about her new book, The Gift of Shift, discovering the key within to unlock your best life. And if you say it 10 times fast, that would be a gift as well. Live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studios from somewhere in outside Dallas, Texas, the amazing author of the book, The Gift of Shift, and international life and leadership and relationship coach, ladies and gentlemen, the multi-talented Ann Papayoti. Ann, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning, Mike. Thanks for having me, and thank you for that intro. And yes, saying that fast, we'll come out with something else, but that is a gift. I agree with you.
Well, or maybe we can give away a book, but I'm sure we'll talk about that later too. So I'm not kidding. That. Don't do that yet, guys. So, of course, you got the new book out called The Gift of Shift, discovering the key within to unlock the best life. Also a co-author with Tracy McDonald. You also endured some of life brutal blows, and you also found the gift hidden within the experiences. And you're also an international life, leadership, and relationship coach, and dedicated to waking people up to live in their best life, help them untangle their past, align their values, and connect to the higher purpose as well. And of course, we'll talk about the book as well. And before we get into all that, Ann, tell us how you first got started.
Well, to get started into the kind of work that I do now, it really started by being a participant in a support group for separation and divorce. And in that support group, I was asked to then take over leading that support group. I said, but I'm not ready. I'm not healed. And they said, well, you can't help but help yourself when you help somebody else. and I think you'll find healing along the way. So I did that, and and that led to people then wanting one-on-one time and wanting more from me. And as my life path opened up the opportunity, I eventually went back to school and did all those things that you talked about and got my coaching certification in NLP and energy leadership and other things, so that I could best help the people that were literally coming into my orbit. But to get to the support group, let me just tell you what happened. I had a happy childhood. And you know, a lot of people don't talk about their childhoods in that way anymore, but I had a very happy childhood. Grew up in Birmingham, Alabama. Dad worked for the phone company. Mom taught piano at home. And I'd say my older brother and I had everything we needed, not necessarily everything we wanted, but we had a great life. But it was when I was a young adult, I think I was 20 years old, when I first realized life has a way of sort of kind of pulling you under and holding you down and under the surface, and finding out that you're just kind of holding your breath through some blows in life. And it started with the betrayal of my best friend at university, as you mentioned. And when that happened, having had a happy childhood up until 20, you know, I'm a structure person, planned out, you know, list maker, box checker. That turned my world upside down because I didn't understand. I didn't understand, and there was no resolution. And, you know, when we were kids, if there was a conflict, you went to the principal's office, or the teacher sat down with you, or a parent sat down with you, and there was resolution, and then everybody moved on. But there was no resolution here, and I was left to question everything that I thought to be true. And ultimately, with no answers, I made it about me. And that was my first big life lesson. Once I finally understood it, was that whatever anybody else says or does is about them. It's not about you. But I made it about me. And rather than just going through the hurt and the emotions and the grieving of the loss of the friend and the boyfriend, and losing my two closest people and losing them to one another, rather than just going through that, I kept the pain. I kept the wound open. And eventually I figured out I had to do something about that, and I had to live differently, because I had started what I call the over and unders, Mike, which were overeating, over drinking, underachieving, underperforming at school. So I went from someone who was, you know, well mapped out, everything's a steady pace, to feeling like a failure in just about every aspect of life. And but I did pull myself out of that, Mike, and I kind of came up and surfaced, and I said, okay, I gotta keep going. So I made all the right changes. I changed schools, I got a good job. I was around a different set of friends, and I graduated school, all these things. I did all the right things. So you would think, you know, I'm moving forward, I'm healed. But what I found out soon after was that there was still something, a hole in me. And you know the Jerry Maguire movie where they say, "You complete me"? I hate that line, Mike.
Okay.
I hate that line.
I'm trying to think. Jerry Maguire, that was Tom Cruise. That was a football player. I remember watching that. And for some reason, I missed that part. I was more thinking about show me the money. But I'm glad you brought that part up. So it's not just show me about the money, but also what you said as well, too. And there's more to it than that, than showing the money. So
that's right. The other part of that story was his love story with Renee Zellweger, right? But he figured out that she completed him. And I hate that line, because I think I was going through from that, in that wounded soul, looking for someone to complete me. And I ended up in a narcissistic, abusive relationship that turned into a marriage that led to the births of two sons. And unfortunately, as you mentioned, I did lose a son. My first son passed away at 2 weeks of age due to complications from a preterm birth. But I thought that changed my husband. I thought it, you know, changed everything. And I stayed in the marriage, but it started stirring in me that to really, really re-examine life and what matters in life, and to pay attention. But before the abuse started again, because this change was not permanent in my ex-husband, sadly, I conceived our second son. But it was in his toddlership, I think he's 22 months old, when he stood between us, his 6'4" father. And I'm 5'3" by stretch, Mike.
Stretch Armstrong.
Yeah, I'm trying to stretch up here. But so, imagine a 22-month-old looking up and saying, no, Dada, no, Mama, Dada, bad. And that, when I talk about waking people up, that woke me up, that while I was sort of feeling like I was being groomed since the loss of my first son to have the courage to leave this marriage, especially when I realized that there was no permanent change because of our first son's life, in that moment, I found the courage. And I think for anyone, when you're ready for change and opportunity crosses path at the same time, that's when a lot of us will finally, do it. And I felt like, and I describe in The Gift of Grits, one of the chapters in the book, it was like being on a high dive, and I'm scared of heights. And you're not allowed to come back down the ladder, right? Mm-hmm. So you got to jump where you stay. And the longer you stay, the more scared you get. But, I was there, I was on the diving board. But in that moment when my son did that, I found that courage and I dove, and it was frightening and exhilarating at the same time. And I took the steps to get out of my marriage. And from there, I ended up in this support group I was telling you about that somehow has led my life up into what I do now and why I'm here with you.
So what was that one exact moment that simply influenced you into what you're doing? Was that support group? Was that what happened with your child? Or was there some along the lines that simply said, this is what I'm going to do here?
I think it was a combination. And when you look back, like in my little childhood school book every year where my mom kept what I wanted to be when I grew up, it was teacher consistently. Every now and then nurse, and then stewardess. And I don't know why I didn't know what that was. I didn't fly till I was in my 20s.
Well, stewardesses can teach people. Sit down and shut up.
There you go. And how to buckle the seatbelt, right? But what I recognized what was happening was that my whole life, I'd been told I was a good listener. Like the kindergarten teacher would put me with the problem child in the class because I could listen and talk and calm them or get them to have a different outcome. Same thing in fourth grade. I remember being the one that had to escort, some of the troublemakers to the office because it was an opportunity for me to have that kind of time with them. In high school, in the yearbook, I'm listed as, or someone wrote that I'm a good listener.
What?
And that I didn't realize. I know, a good listener. I didn't realize that that's an innate skill, Mike, that would, be foundational to my work, is that listening with empathy and that ability to have compassion and to kind of share experiences and then find people, find me relevant and understandable for them, and then being able to guide them from there. So I think that the support group was the final catalyst in that it set me up for people wanting my guidance. People wanted, after those groups, and the people wanted one-on-one time. I'm going to lunch with them. I'm having coffee with them. My cat's sitting in their lap, but they're staying for dinner. At some point I said, what am I doing here? I didn't feel qualified or certified to be spending that kind of time guiding them. And I had not heard of coaching. But after I remarried and relocated to Montreal, as you and I were talking pre-show, from Atlanta at that time, the opportunity, as I said, my life path opened up, and I was going to be a stay-at-home mom now after a 17-year corporate career. And so as a stay-at-home mom, I was volunteering at the Women's Center there, and they asked me to give these support groups because that was something in my history. It's something they were looking for, and that led to personal development courses. And then again, I found the same pattern, people wanting one-on-one time. And I said, okay, what am I going to do about it? And what am I being called to do? And now I have the time because I took the severance to move to Montreal. So here I was, and I went back to school and did all those things. And now it's what I do as a career, second career, I should say.
And that's very amazing too. And you're also an amazing author as well too of The Gift of Shift. We'll talk about that in just 1 minute. But first, you listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for early needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. It's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved and enjoyed by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Ford Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, check out The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com on over 30 podcast platforms. Take us with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com and check out The Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. For great books, merchandise, and more, Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. Check it out today. Help support The Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, themikewagnershow.com, and you can buy Mike a coffee. Buy me a coffee at The Mike Wagner Show, also Glow FM, and make sure you donate today. We're here with a terrific lady who's international life, leadership, and relationship coach, and also endured many of life's brutal blows and she overcame them very successfully. She's also author of the book, The Gift of Shift, here on The Mike Wagner Show with author Ann Papayoti. And Ann, how'd you first and your co-author Tracy McDowell collaborate and come up with the title, The Gift of Shift?
Thank you for asking. Tracy and I met in Miami. We were both living in Canada, she in New Brunswick and I in Quebec. And we selected Miami for our coach training school. And we met there and just hit it off right away and knew we wanted to collaborate on content because we were both fascinated with learning, and we call ourselves personal development junkies, and all of these things. But we found that we had a great connection, and we started collaborating after we both returned back to our provinces. And in that time, we created a workshop called The Gift of Shift. And she would come to Montreal, we'd deliver it there. I would go to Moncton, New Brunswick, we'd deliver it there. And then I kept saying, we need to write a book. And she kept saying, no. I was like, that was my calling, not hers. I had known since I was a teenager, I wanted to write a book. And Mike always thought it'd be a novel, something intriguing like the book that is sponsoring your show. But instead, it ends up being a self-help book because of the paths and the experience I've had in life. But Tracy finally said yes. And we realized that title really said what we wanted to communicate. The Gift of Shift. And so what we did was we created, and this book is a little different. It's not your traditional self-help book, because what we find is, from our clients, is that people get overwhelmed with the academia of self-help books. They buy them because they want what it's offering, but they can't get through them on their own, and they give up. So our book is actually a collection of short, personal, sometimes intimate stories. And then after each story are 5 coaching questions for the reader to then reflect on their life about the common theme. While their story is most likely different, everyone's gone through betrayal. Everyone's had to find courage. Everyone's had to hold on to hope for something. Everyone's had to figure out how to be, their own best friend, or quiet their inner critic and choose themselves over someone else at some point. So these kinds of themes are common to all of us in the book, but there's power in personal story. And I think that people hear a story and they recognize their own truth in it, and then they're more ready and open to share their own. So by asking the questions, it gives them a reflection time, guided. It's not just here, journal. No, here are questions to help you kind of go through this story or this theme of courage or betrayal. And then there's a place for them, if they're so inspired, to write their own story, short story about that theme in life. And the goal, Mike, is to help them either remember a time when they were successful in overcoming an adversity in life, because we forget our strengths. And they'll go, okay, yeah, I did go through betrayal. And the questions will help them reveal what it was about them that got them through that, so they can use that to help them with something they're currently going through, or recognize how they still be stuck in this theme of life, this story, and let those questions guide them to start creating some momentum so they can take some different actions to change their outcomes.
So in other words, almost like having one word or two will simply just trigger an event or a moment, which can be good or bad. That's what it sounds like. Something was buried inside. That's been a common association. That's what it sounds like. That's interesting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So people they'll hear a story and they'll feel it. Think about a song, the great storytellers and of songwriters. We're crying with them, we're laughing with them, we're mad with them, we feel all these emotions with them. And I think that's what happens in sharing personal stories and in this way, is that people feel, and then they recognize that they felt that same way, and then they don't feel alone. And then they see, and Tracy and I show how we went from sort of powerless states in ways of thinking and feeling and therefore being, how we showed up in life, to kind of claiming the power of choice and finding the way to shift our mindset about the circumstances. Even though we couldn't change circumstances, I certainly couldn't change the fact that my son passed away, but finding that shift in perspective. And sometimes it's not a big shift. Sometimes it's just takes a little bit to get you to change directions and create a better outcome in life. And so just that, if nothing else, for people to get that and to be able to move through some of the pain they may be holding on to, because it's what's in our heads that holds us back in life. And a lot of things we haven't told, we haven't shared, we haven't admitted. In fact, I had one reader of the book tell me that after he read it, he got his sister a copy, and there was something she went through in high school, and she's now in 50s, that she never talked about. She never went for help about it. There was a lot of shame involved, and that she used this book, helped her move through that and feel lighter and more peaceful, and to let go of some of this weightiness that she had carried around for so long, decades.
Wow. That's more rather common too. It's like, having somebody come in knots and they carried on for decades and everything else. That's been quite common. It's all revealed, how you go through. And speaking of pain, I also had read in there too that, people getting bitten by animals and traumatized, where it's snakes, dogs, cats, rabbits, or birds, or anything like that. It's like, getting bitten. It's like, that's another thing that's, being talked about as well too. It's like, you're bitten by snakes, and I've got bitten by cats before too. And some people, it's like they get bit by dogs at such a very young age. They're traumatized to be around a dog.
Exactly. And that fear will show up in other areas of life, right? And it'll hold you back. And fear is like, that's the thief of joy, and it keeps us playing small in life in whatever way. And so even, yes, something like that, that may seemingly be insignificant, but it can create other anxieties and fears. And
what was the biggest challenge in you writing the book, The Gift of Shift? And what was the most difficult chapter for you?
I think the biggest challenge in general and I think Tracy would say the same thing, was just putting our stories in writing. Leading support groups and working in personal development with adults, I've shared my personal stories out loud in classrooms or now on Zoom. 25 years I've done that. So I've shared my personal story to help people, start revealing their own. But when I put it in writing, and I'm going to put it out there for the world to see, it was a little bit, that was, I think, the hardest part. The most difficult chapter was for me, the gift of JOMO. Do you know that acronym, Mike?
You know something? I saw that on there, JOMO, and tell us more about that. I'd love to hear more about it.
Okay,
and we do,
great.
should say.
Yeah, well, JOMO, Joy of Missing Out. It's an acronym for Joy of Missing Out. And there's a gift in that. And it's the opposite of FOMO, which is fear of missing out. And I think, when the pandemic hit, we all kind of had this dance happening between FOMO and JOMO mindsets, like, yay, I get to stay home. And then, oh no, I'm stuck at home. So joy of missing out to all of a sudden now it's fear of missing out. What's this really going to mean? How long is this going to last? And then we watched people throughout the pandemic. Some people started learning how to bake bread or quilt or, garden and do things. They started learning. They tapped into that joy of missing out, focusing on what they could do with what they had rather than what they couldn't do. And people who got stuck in the FOMO mindset were stuck in what they were missing out on it and couldn't be a part of, and can't go to the restaurants and can't go to the gym and can't rather than how can I redo this? And I think we all know the businesses that survived. I know here in Texas, at least in my county, bars were shut down for a period of time, but if they sold food, they were allowed to stay open during whatever period of lockdown this was.
Very interesting.
So some of them just shut their doors. Well, we don't sell food. Bam. Others, went to Costco and got some appetizers and made some hot dogs and started selling them with their, the liquor license is what they had to have a license for, not this food. So they got smart and savvy with it and changed their own outcomes. So that's where people get stuck. So why that was hard for me to write was because we were in the pandemic when I was writing this. We started the book in January of 2020. But by the time, March hit, that's when everything. And so this particular chapter for me was the hardest because I'm like, how can I do this justice? I knew my story of FOMO JOMO was giving up my career at Delta Airlines, moving to Montreal, starting over, the fear of I've been through divorce. What if this marriage doesn't work out? Mm-hmm. So all those things that were broken trust because of the original betrayal that led to the next thing and the next thing in my life came flooding back on me. And I had a lot of fear of missing out on the life I felt was stable again and structured. And here I'm about to uproot and do what? Move out of the country. Okay. And give up my career, which was my financial, independence and all these things that having been a single mom was so highly important. And so I had to do that dance, FOMO JOMO. And what I recognized was that, JOMO is choosing love over fear and necessity. I kept saying, I have to do this. When you come from that I have to place, there's always this, resistance in it, this negative energy. But when I choose to, there can be joy in it. And that's what I did.
That's really interesting too. Maybe think about the JOMO and the FOMO as well too, but you stick in between the YOLO as well too. So you only live once.
That's right. That's the jump off the diving board. Come on, let's go.
There you go. I think that's a great media right there. It's like YOLO, you only live once. And and you also have another gift too. We'll talk about that in just 1 minute. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Also brought to you by official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. We'll be back with the author of the book, The Gift of Shift, Ann Papayoti, after this time.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention The Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. It talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mia Molson-Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamotionzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Hey, this is Ray Powers, and boy, are you in luck. Right place, right time. Tuned in to The Mike Wagner Show. You heard me.
We're back with the author of The Gift of Shift, Ann Papayoti, here on the Mike Wagner Show. Also an international life, leadership, and relationship coach. We talked about, about the book, The Gift of Shift, also her story as well too, and the gift of JOMO and FOMO, and also a very beautiful gift. And what is that beautiful gift?
For your audience, is that what you're referring to, Mike? Absolutely. So I have a mini course that I've created called Soul CPR. And that mini course it's a video introduction, and then it's a downloadable workbook. And I encourage all your listeners to go and take advantage of this. And I'm sure, Mike, you'll be putting the link in perfect. Thumbs up on that. So this is all about the process that I realized I'd done for myself to start pulling up and out of some of the darkest places I'd been in life. And what I realized was I'd been holding my breath. I wasn't in touch with my heartbeat, or, my soul was like, who am I? These kind of existential questions, were happening to me. And so Soul CPR is about, connect the dots. You got to look back before you look within. Look back and see, how did you end up where you are? Because that's when I ended up marrying my first husband. I just made changes, which again looked like I was doing the right things, but I didn't stop and reflect. And again, the gift of shift, the way Tracy and I designed it so people reflect after each chapter. But so connect the dots, understand how you got to where you are.
Okay.
Look back, then look within. Now the P is to pinpoint the pain. What pain are you holding onto from your past that's holding you back in life now? So once you pinpoint the pain, then we can start looking for how to release that pain. And the way we release it's recovering recover the truth of who you are. That's when you got to get back in touch with your, when we get stopped in our tracks in life, and we're kind of willing to look within, we strip our values down to the core. Mm-hmm. And that's really what I'm asking people to do. And then they're going to be at a place where they go, this is who I am. This is who I was before this emotional trauma. Before this, this is who I am. And now navigate my life according to who I am moving forward.
That is
Makes
so
decision making easy.
That is very amazing too. Great decisions you're making, Ann. And besides the book, what else you offer in terms of coaching and your other services, and how can people get a hold of you when it comes to coaching and everything else?
Fantastic. I have one-on-one coaching. I have small group coaching. I do couples coaching, and I do team coaching. So I work with businesses as well. My airline background and my corporate facilitation just, I think, set me up for that. I wasn't planning to do that, but working with someone in their life, they said, come do that. Can you do that for my team? I'm like, absolutely, because everything's a relationship, Mike. And at the end of the day, that's really what I do. I change the verbiage, but it's the same message. It's energy and it's relationships, and then knowing who we are and how to be true to ourselves. So you can find me on my website, skyviewcoaching.com. Connect with me there. I love to hear from people. You can email me at hello@skyviewcoaching.com or ann@skyviewcoaching.com and find out more about me. And I'm working on some other online courses that I'll make available, I hope, in the coming year. And The Gift of Shift is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and most any online retailer. If you want to support your local bookstore, you can ask them to order it from your Ingram Sparks catalog. And we do have a private Facebook group, Tracy and I, for readers of The Gift of Shift, so that we can meet once a month and have a chapter discussion. And that way, because I said in the self-help books, people get lost in them and they're stuck and they don't have any guidance through them. Mm-hmm. But this way, we're meeting with our readers and allowing them to ask questions and to share their stories out loud. And it's been it's been awesome and therapeutic, I think, for many of the people there.
And they feel better too if they said The Gift of Shift 10 times fast, and maybe they can win something. So
they absolutely can. Absolutely can.
They sure can as well too. And once again, we're with author Ann Papayoti of The Gift of Shift here on the Mike Wagner Show. And just a few more minutes here. You've been absolutely fantastic. What else can we expect from you in 2022 and beyond?
2022 and beyond. Well, Tracy does not want to write another book with me. Writing's not her thing. She's a vlogger. She's a video person, but I do. So I'm working on my own book in I believe that the working title is "The Universe is My Travel Agent."
Hmm.
So it'll be more
Interesting. I like that.
All right.
Book me up, Dano.
Maybe I'll come back and talk to you when it's out if you allow me. Yeah.
We will certainly do so. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
We were talking about storytellers earlier, and I would say that I had majored in journalism in college because, again, this was setting me up for things I didn't realize. But journalists know how to ask the powerful questions to help people reveal their truths and their stories. And I had a professor suggest I change majors. He said, "This is where you belong. Check it out." And I did. And I was fascinated and drawn in by people like Katie Couric and Joan London at the time, and more contemporary now would be, the Oprah Winfrey's and the Ellen DeGeneres's, of how they would stand in their truth and were so natural and authentic, and would bring guests on or interview people in a way that felt genuine and compassionate and for their best interests. Mm-hmm. And so they stood out to me. And then songwriters like Martina McBride, her song Independence Day was like my anthem, as I was trying to become single and independent after an abusive marriage. And Fancy, Reba McEntire, that song Fancy, that people who could tell an entire life story in a 4-minute song, they've got my respect. So I love storytellers, and I think they have been some of my biggest influences.
Wow. I know we're talking about storytellers early as well, too. And if it was Gordon Lightfoot, I'd be probably sitting there for hours and hours and catching up on coffee. So
there you go. He was a good one for sure. And I know, I got to give my parents a shout out. They've both passed, but my mom was the one that always was reinventing herself based on what was happening in life. Piano teacher, back to the phone company where she'd worked in her teenager and early teens, because then she could go back and get a retirement. She was always figuring things out and doing more and learning more. And I think I get that from her, because I never want to stop growing and learning. And my dad was the how-to guy. He taught me how to swim in the lake. And I remember this, and I tell this in the story, The Gift of Buoyancy, was I couldn't wait to learn how to swim, but he insisted I learn how to float first. And I did. Like, and I was impatient. I wanted to go ahead and learn how to swim, but you know what? That's another foundational lesson for my life and my life's work, is getting people to be still and to float and to reflect. Because when you do that, when you're floating in the water, you can hear your heartbeat. You can hear yourself breathe, and you get a bigger perspective when you're lying on your back looking up than if you're just swimming forward all the time. So don't just keep swimming.
Just like that fish Dory. It's like
Dory, yeah.
Dory, yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's my son's favorite movie. Just keep swimming. I got to remember that. So
yeah, but don't just keep swimming, because you know what? Some of them got in trouble where they swam too, and as did I. I just kept swimming after the betrayal and swam right into jet boat with the ex-husband. But if we stop and float, like my dad said, because he said, if you just keep swimming, you're going to wear out. You're going to tire out. And you're going to sink, and you're not going to,
Right. And that's a very good point as well, too. I need to remember that next time I go swimming. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
I would say just to notice your life, because when I say wake up to life, people just kind of go through their day without really notice your life and check in with yourself and what has a grip on your heart. Is there a story from your past that feels unresolved? Is there something happening now? Is there something that's yet to be written or told, a story that you're just a desire of your heart you've yet to fulfill? So notice your life, notice what's got a grip on your heart, and then reconnect to who you are. And are your decisions lining up to help support you in those greatest desires of life?
That is very amazing as well, too. Once again, we're with author Ann Papayoti of The Gift of Shift here on the Mike Wagner Show. And a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Learned a lot from you. Looking forward to having you on soon. Make sure you keep us up to date. Keep in touch. We'd love to have you back. Once again, tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase? Check out the book. Check out your classes and check out your services.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay, the website. Where can they find you? Website. Website,
skyviewcoaching.com. You can email me, hello@skyviewcoaching.com. thegiftofshift.com or Ann, no E, at skyviewcoaching.com and connect with me there. I'd love to hear from you. And you can see all my coaching options and sign up for a discovery call. If you're not sure if coaching is right for you, but you feel compelled that this might be the right thing for you, we'll talk about it. And then you can decide. And then the book is...
And where can we find The Gift of Shift again?
Yeah, The Gift of Shift is available on Amazon and all major online retailers, or just ask your local bookstore to order it for you from their Ingram Sparks catalog.
We will do so. Once again, Ann, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Looking forward to having you again soon. Make sure you keep us up to date. Keep in touch. We'd love to have you back. I'd like to wish you all the best. You've got a great future ahead of you.
Thank you, Mike. All the best to you as well.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention The Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamoshenzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.